Robert Downey Jr. has an unlikely story, almost unbelievable. Any other individual with Downey's insane track record would easily have fallen victim to the system and died. But not him. This man was granted unlimited second chances in Hollywood, an establishment ready to write people off within an instant. So why did they never give up on a man who clearly never believed in himself? Let's get into it. In Robert Downey Jr.'s words, he had an interesting childhood, but as you delve further into his past, you'll find that's quite the understatement. Both of his artistic parents, who divorced when he was 13, struggled with drug and alcohol addiction and led lifestyles that meant traveling for work and wild party invites. Naturally, Downey caught the acting bug at a young age. According to Biography, never stayed in one place for too long during his youth, living in New York City, London, and Santa Monica. He also infamously had his first taste of marijuana when he was just 6 or 7. As his dad, Robert Downey Jr., later admitted to The Guardian, "I passed him a joint, and suddenly I knew I had made a terrible, stupid mistake, giving a little kid a toke of grass just to be funny." Robert Downey Jr. once explained that the father-son duo used drugs to bond, saying in an interview for the New Breed book, "It was like him trying to express his love for me in the only way he knew how." While an Urban Institute study showed that this type of instability can have negative effects on children, Downey has maintained an optimistic outlook on his unusual upbringing. "To me, we were an artistic family trying to find normalcy," he told Vanity Fair. Anyway, 1987 was an exciting year for Robert Downey Jr., who nabbed his breakout role in the movie Less Than Zero. The young actor's vulnerable portrayal of drug addict Julian Wells, whose addiction spirals amid an attempt to get sober, captivated audiences. The New York Times referred to his performance as desperately moving. Unfortunately, the role proved to be too much to handle, and Downey's life began to imitate his art. By the time the drama was released, Downey was 22 and his lifelong battle with addiction began to get worse. "Until that movie, I took my drugs after work and on the weekends," he later explained to The Guardian. "Maybe I'd turn up hungover on set, but no more than the stuntman." However, Downey went on to say that this changed while filming Less Than Zero. "For me, the role was like the ghost of Christmas Future," he noted. "The character was an exaggeration of myself. Then things changed, and in some ways, I became an exaggeration of the character. That lasted for longer than it needed to last." Downey's downward spiral into addiction would unfortunately become infamous over the next 15 years, landing him not only in rehab, but also behind bars, until finally kicking the habit for good in the summer of 2003. Robert Downey Jr.'s addiction led to his breakup with Sarah Jessica Parker. For context, before Robert Downey Jr. attained the glitz and glam of A-list status, he and Sarah Jessica Parker met on the set of the movie Firstborn in 1984. At the time, the two 19-year-olds were on their way to becoming household names, and things got serious fast. 2 months after their first date, they moved in together. When speaking about this time with Parker, Downey admitted to being far from mature, telling Parade in 2008, "I liked to drink, and I had a drug problem, and that didn't vibe Sarah Jessica because it is the furthest thing from what she is." He went on to say that Parker did her best to cope with his lifestyle. "She provided me with a home and understanding. She tried to help me. She was so miffed when I didn't get my act together." The duo broke up after 7 years together, and Parker shed some light on the split in 2018. "There was a huge amount of time spent making sure he was okay," she told People. "At a certain point, I had the courage to say, I'm going to walk away and I'm just going to pray that you don't die." Meanwhile, Downey previously explained to Howard Stern, "We were at a very conservative relationship concerning the fact that she was normal and I was out of my mind. I did the best I could." By his early 30s, Robert Downey Jr.'s drug addiction had led him down a dangerous path, resulting in his June 1996 arrest. The actor was pulled over for speeding in Malibu, with authorities claiming he'd been driving erratically and appeared to be under the influence of alcohol, before finding black tar heroin, crack and powdered cocaine, and an unloaded .357 Magnum handgun in his pickup truck. Downey later posted bail, but was charged with felony counts of drug possession along with misdemeanor charges for DUI and possession of a concealed weapon. The following month, Downey was infamously found asleep amid a drugged stupor, clad in just his underpants with his clothes folded nearby, in his neighbor's child's empty bed, in what became known as the Goldilocks incident. Luckily, his neighbors decided not to press trespassing charges, but he was court-ordered to attend rehab. He escaped after 2 days, hitchhiked to his friend's house, and was taken to jail for violating the orders hours later, before finding himself sent off to another rehab center. Downey was an Oscar-nominated actor for Chaplin by this time in his career, but that didn't mean Judge Lawrence Mira let him off the hook when he pleaded no contest to his initial charges. That November, Downey was sentenced to additional 6 months of live-in rehabilitation with periodic drug tests and 3 years of probation. By the time Robert Downey Jr. was accused of skipping a drug test in late 1997, Judge Lawrence Mira had grown frustrated and sentenced the actor to 180 days at the Los Angeles County Jail for violating probation, according to Vanity Fair. "I'm going to incarcerate you in a way that is very unpleasant to you," he told Downey. "I am willing to send you to a state prison. I don't care who you are." Downey was moved to solitary confinement after getting into a fight with a few inmates, and was eventually released over 2 months early to attend another 120 days in rehab. Unfortunately, he was still battling addiction in the mid-1990s. In mid-1999, and after missing more court-ordered drug tests, was thrown back into the legal system. Per the New York Post, Downey requested remaining in the county's rehab program at his hearing that August, saying of his ongoing struggle, "It's like I have a shotgun in my mouth and I got the finger on the trigger and I like the taste of the gun metal." But the emotional statement garnered little sympathy from the judge, who told Downey, "We tried rehabilitation and it simply hasn't worked." Downey's A-list lawyer, Robert Shapiro, was shocked when Mira handed down the maximum sentence of 3 years in state prison, telling reporters that the judge had interrupted the actor's progress in his journey towards sobriety. While locked up at the California Substance Abuse Treatment Facility and State Prison in 2000, Robert Downey Jr. gave an exclusive interview to Vanity Fair's Stephen Garbarino, in which he revealed that his time on the inside gave him a lot of time to think. "It is my newfound experience that in order to get things done, I must be still," Downey wrote in a letter. "When that is afforded by an imposed restriction, illness, weather, incarceration, generally being grounded, I now believe it is God's way of giving us some true freedom to catch up on what you need to accomplish inwardly." Despite his optimistic outlook, the actor decidedly did not get the A-list treatment during his stay. Instead, he worked in the kitchen where he made just 8 cents per hour, was forced to ward off threats of violence, lived in a group cell, and attend classes or drug treatment sessions almost every day. Unfortunately, Downey's new routine eventually impacted his mental health, as he later said during one of Garbarino's visits. "I'm just sinking deeper into my depression sessions. Sometimes I'm just dead, living in an effing warehouse. I'm ready to get out." Downey was eventually released from prison in August 2000 and quickly began work on his comeback in Tinseltown. Even when his personal life was at its most complicated, Robert Downey Jr. continued to shine on screen. And after his stint in prison, Fox became the first company to take a chance on the troubled actor. According to CNN, Downey was offered the chance to play Larry Paul, the love interest of Calista Flockhart's titled character on the hit series Ally McBeal. Fans quickly fell in love with the televised couple and ratings skyrocketed, but behind the scenes, Downey was still struggling. 3 months into his new gig, the actor was arrested for cocaine and methamphetamine possession in Palm Springs, California. Surprisingly, the November 2000 incident didn't scare Fox away. Instead, they decided to cast him in more episodes to finish out the season. However, their loyalty to Downey was further tested when he was arrested again in April 2001, this time for being under the influence of drugs in Los Angeles. The network parted ways with Downey hours later, and he was swiftly written off the show, with producer David E. Kelley telling Fox News, "Robert is a unique talent and a very special person, and we wish him the best and hope for his full recovery." While Downey saw success amid battling his demons, winning a Golden Globe for his performance and receiving a standing ovation from the audience, it would be another 7 years before he officially turned things around professionally in Iron Man. Downey flew his way into riches when he landed his superhero role as Iron Man. At a time when people were unwilling to give the actor a shot because of his complicated past, Jon Favreau took a chance on the actor. Downey was cast as Iron Man, which was released in 2008. The Oppenheimer actor recalled the early moments of his Iron Man career with Esquire, sharing, "I think Iron Man wound up being the first time I screen tested since Chaplin. As far as I was concerned, it was destiny." destiny it truly was. Nikki Swift dove into the numbers of Iron Man's success and wrote, Iron Man was the first film to be brought to the theaters in the MCU world, and it became a big hit, grossing over $585 million worldwide. In an instant, the company knew they had something special on their hands. Downey would go on to reprise his role as Iron Man in 8 more of the MCU's box office sensation films. Spoiler alert, his last film with the MCU was Avengers Endgame, which made nearly $2.8 billion. That's right, $1 billion worldwide. However, when the actor signed on what will be his most iconic character, he wasn't paid as much as you'd think. Downey was only given $2.5 million for his first Iron Man film. Marvel, still weary of Downey's previous struggle with substance abuse, decided to take a chance on him, and it was a good thing they did. By 2012, the first Avengers movie was released after proving himself the actor up to salary to $50 million, plus a percentage of how much the film would make. The Oppenheimer actor was sitting on stacks of cash, and from 2013 to 2015, he was labeled as the highest paid actor by Forbes. By Downey's last MCU film, Avengers Endgame, released in 2019, he earned a $75 million payout. If it wasn't for Iron Man, I don't know if Downey would have made it to his most successful role yet. The Christopher Nolan film Oppenheimer was preparing for its release in the summer of 2023. So was the phenomenon that was Barbie. The unlikely duo paired up, and the slogan Barbenheimer quickly caught on. Social media platforms exploded with content and comedic memes inspired by Barbenheimer, hyping up both films. This not only led to successful opening weekends for these films, but a red carpet paving the way to the Oscars for them. Oppenheimer would go on to win 7 of the 13 Oscar nominations they received, including Robert Downey Jr.'s win for Best Supporting Actor for his role as Louis Strauss, Downey's first Oscar win. It comes full circle when he started his acceptance speech by thanking his terrible childhood. So how did he do it? How did he go from the lowest of the low to an Oscar win? Why did Hollywood never give up on him? I have some thoughts on the matter, but would love to hear what you think. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and make sure to click and subscribe to catch us on the next video.